Ah. Then she raised her head, and as soon as she realized who the man in front of her was, her features froze on their own. I will shackle your neck, ankles, and wrists. Atari Hannan. And I will lock you in a cage surrounded by mirrors. It would be a great sight, wouldn't it? The man who was already dead, Atari, how could he be here? He did not emit that malicious atmosphere as before, and he did not suddenly remove the shackles and embark on crazy acts. He merely moved his lips slightly, with a look of astonishment on his face. I am Atari Hannan, Prince of the Tain Empire. I have just arrived, and I have been wandering around the palace, and it seems that I have unintentionally committed an offense. Are you okay? In Atari's eyes, there was no trace of those dirty feelings that always followed him. Rather, he was like a man who didn't remember anything at all. His face was in confusion, as if he did not understand why this woman was staring at him with such extreme terror. How can this be? If he had truly come back to life and still maintained his settings, this would not have been possible. Miss? With his voice, a fleeting image flashed through Precipice's mind. It was a book of memories, which seemed to be burning, scattering light through countless holes. Have all settings been cleared? So, it's just that everyone came back again? Are you really okay? Should I call someone to help you? Miss. But his voice was not complete. She left him behind her, and Atari stood alone, his features full of astonishment, staring for a long time at her back, which was gradually moving away. To run like this in the middle of the royal palace, without any dignity, then he muttered to himself. What a lady who has nothing to do with decency or etiquette. He smiled sarcastically with a very short smile. Her breaths were coming until she was almost suffocating. Huff, huff. How much did you run? She felt as if her heart would explode at any moment. Then her eyes began to roam the palace with indescribable eagerness. But unlike the last thing she remembered, the palace seemed very safe. Even the tower, which had collapsed in charcoal, now seemed completely unscathed. Moreover, Atari Hannan, who had died, had also returned. So, is everything back to square one? Could it be that all the character settings have disappeared as well? If that had happened, no one would have remembered any of the previous events. Only their original selves remained. So what about Duke Fenric? What about that cursed world? What about Vidar? Heading towards the church that appeared in front of her. Fortunately for her, there were no guards watching the place. Even Ella didn't know where she was going, so she couldn't follow her. No strange notice appeared before her as when she first saw the broken statue. Rather, there it was, that huge, majestic statue, filling her vision with its enormous size to the point of exaggeration. Holy statue, guardian of Italia, conqueror of the demon king, a man is on the ground, being crushed under someone's feet. And that face was not strange to her. It was the same face as Vidar, which she had preserved in her memory. So, this is his true form. Does this mean that the world of is still standing, has not yet been destroyed, and still maintains its existence? So, what about Duke Fenric? Did he also erase all his memories of her? Without leaving anything? No, perhaps Fenric no longer even exists in this world. He was never even a playable character, and his name cannot be found in any system. Now that the settings of the main characters themselves have been erased, is there any room left for a being like Fenric? There is no guarantee for that. In fact, the opposite is closer to reality. No, that's not possible. That won't be the case. He promised me he would come back to find me. I must go to the Duke's palace. But a sudden sound rang out behind her, making her flinch violently and turn around. I was about to send for you to be brought to the throne room. As for me, I intended to come right back. I didn't expect us to meet here like this. The one who was staring at her now was Dietrich, with a mysterious, unreadable expression. What were you doing here? She thought she had gotten rid of all the settings, So did he come back and impose new restrictions on her under the pretext that she was trying to escape? But the Dietrich facing her now was not the same face she had known before. Rather, his features seemed to be imbued with a kind of deep remorse. I was just coming back from a meeting with the Archbishop. He talked about the party that would be held in a few days. He said he would do everything he could to support me, for the revival of Atloya. His low, heavy voice rang through the church like a muffled bell. Then get straight to the point. About your destiny. Yes, the Archbishop was never satisfied with her presence. To him, Presepe was nothing but a burden attached to the new Emperor Dietrich, not a drop of blood connected to him. In the worst cases, it could raise thorny scandals that were, until recently, existing facts. I thought a lot. Dietrich continued. Why did we get into this relationship? There was a time between us when we were each other's refuge, drawing strength from each other. Then why did I hate you so much? Why did I unleash so much anger and blame on you? I can't understand my old self. Maybe, yes, maybe hating you was the easiest way for me at that time. Easier than facing my weakness. Yes, that's how it was. And maybe that's why I wanted to see you melt next to me, I wanted to see it with my own eyes. That is why, when he seized the reins of power a while ago, he locked her in the tower, this time to ensure that she would not escape. But there was something strange. That suffocating rage, that burning hatred, even the sick desire to possess her, all of it vanished. The woman in front of him is no longer the enemy that makes him boil. Rather, he saw in her nothing but that sister who had once been his only solace. Dietrich remained silent for a long moment, just looking at her. Then, after what seemed like a long time, his lips moved slowly. Presepe, I will release you. His words were something she had never thought she would hear from him. A look of utter disbelief appeared on her face. Go wherever you want. It's okay if it's not the palace, it doesn't matter anymore. I just wanted to tell you this. There is no other meaning behind it. A bitter smile appeared on his face. His words were what she had always wanted to hear, and yet, there was only one thing on her mind at that moment. Fenric's fate. If you want, I can prepare a castle for you in the capital. Think about it, then tell Ella. I will wait. Yes. I must be more mature now. I have to get over the stage of being a child who does nothing but cry and be stubborn. Dietrich looked at Presepe with eyes filled with a complex mixture of emotions, then slowly turned away. And he started walking away. Your Majesty. The Duke, Dietrich stopped in his tracks and looked at her with slightly narrowed eyes. Where is Duke Fenric? At that moment, a look of pure astonishment appeared on his face. But Presepe ignored her mounting anxiety and repeated the question in a trembling voice, Duke Fenric. Your Majesty's closest confidant. Who has fought countless wars with you? I don't understand anything you're saying. The response was desperate. Someone like that doesn't exist by my side. No, it can't be. Then if he is really a duke, then he must be a nobleman, but I have never heard that name. This is impossible. It is a name that does not exist. It is a title that does not exist. He doesn't exist. He no longer exists in this world? Forever? It seems like you were just dreaming. Yes, that makes sense. Even as a child, you used to have strange dreams from time to time. Dietrich smiled briefly, then finally said, when you decide your destination, send for Ella. He took one last look at Presepe, then turned his head away. And he left. A heavy, leaden silence fell over the church in which Presepe was left alone. No sound was heard. Until her legs collapsed, and she fell to the ground.